Okay, people. So it's January 16th, January 15th, 2018. I'm pretty miserable right now, people, on the verge of tears. I think that's going to be my whole life until this stuff with Uncle John is settled. In terms of on the verge of tears, if not actually crying. You don't have someone in your life for over 30 years, 35 years or whatever, 30 years or whatever the hell it is. Going on 35 years now. He lived with me for 23. We lived on the mainland for 20. Sometimes I jump with the numbers, but we lived on the mainland for 20. He lived with me for 23, and I've known him for over 35. And just knowing what has happened to him, people, in terms of how he was medically kidnapped, under the watchful eye of Fraser Health Authority and the union, right? Because you have to remember the majority of those workers in that care facility and at the hospital are immigrants of some kind coming into the country under visas and then establishing a life here. So as these immigrants are coming into the country, there needs to be housing. So where do they get the housing from, people? How is it that these immigrants that are coming into the country can buy houses when only certain kind of houses are being built in terms of monster homes? And only certain kind of people are building monster homes. Other than that, it's the recycling of the properties that are already existing. And with that baby boom coming in, they're being plucked off one here, plucked off one here, plucked off one here, plucked off one there. And those houses where they're being plucked out of are being bought up by, on average, people that were not born in this country. So, it's really disheartening because, just for an example, yesterday I was in the mall, okay? I had to buy more ink. I'm behind on all my bills, but I have to keep up with ink. Right? You don't spend thousands of dollars on a lawsuit just to toss it out to the wayside. Even though you've already spent tens of thousands of dollars on a nonprofit, and that's being pushed out to the wayside. Basically, because of professional people wanting to keep control of the economy in terms of, you know, the level of poverty that we have and how the people within that class are exploited. And then just, you know, that status quo, right? Again, wrote a 50-50, could have generated $80,000 to $100,000 in 1 year on weekends. Could have put that cash infusion into the homeless area, you know, with those people out there. Could have put a little bit of money somewhere else. But no, politicians, they don't want that, people. Right? Because they got some kind of weird relationship with those homeless people up by that shelter. Cops on one side, homeless people on the other side. And that's how everybody lives their life, day after day, year after year after year. For some reason, city councils and that type of thing, they like it. They like people sleeping in tent cities. And they don't seem to mind if the numbers go up. Right? Because at the end of the day, those people in those situations, they tend to die off a little younger. So you got to see it for what it is, genocide in Canada. At the hands of our leadership. Because they're just thinking about their pocketbooks and their bank accounts and their life insurance policies and, you know, their pension plans, and that's pretty much all they're thinking about. Because that's where they put all their their self-esteem is, in that greenback dollar bill, right? So anyway, I was in the mall, right? And I bought some discounted vegetables as usual, right? And I was struggling with the bags. And I was walking through the mall struggling with these bags. And I was looking around me, and it's 95% immigrant population of some kind, right? Whether they're Chinese, Filipinos, South Asians, Hindus, Japanese, Cambodians, Africans. You get my point, right? And everybody just walking on by. And I'm struggling with these bags, and I'm looking around me, and I'm, thinking about my life, and what's happened to Uncle John, and what's happening to other people, and just what's happening to my family, and what's happening to my grandchildren, and just thinking about it all, right? As I'm struggling with these bags. And then I'm thinking, nobody is offering to help. They just don't offer to help. They don't help with anything, people. People don't help with anything. They just in their own little bubbles. And then I thought, wouldn't it be nice if, as I'm walking through the mall, right? I'm thinking, wouldn't it be nice if people in the mall, regardless of their ethnic heritage, would just start helping each other? You're walking down the mall, and you see somebody struggling with something, and another person comes to offer some help, and then you look over there, and somebody offered to help somebody else, and so in the mall, all of a sudden you've got 10 or 15 people helping 10 or 15 other people in the mall. That was what I was thinking about, right? As I'm struggling carrying these bags. Because I wasn't thinking just about myself, right? Although I needed help, and I knew I wasn't going to get no help. People don't want to help, right? They're too busy tearing you apart, right? They're too busy trying to destroy your life before they'd help you, right? And sure enough, all of a sudden, out of the blue, this lady came over and offered to help me. And I looked at her and I said, "You gotta be kidding." She said, "No." I said, "I was just thinking about that. Like, seriously, I think you just read my mind. I was just thinking about, wouldn't it be nice if people in the mall would just start offering to help other people?" I wasn't necessarily thinking about myself. I was trying to take that thought and apply it to the mall setting with all these people running around and just everybody, in their own zone, ignoring what's around them because they're too busy trying to get wealth for themselves. Don't just want to destroy anything they come across, right? Because if you're not willing to help anybody, then you're just about destroying them, okay? And at first I said, "No, it's okay. I was just thinking about it, but I'm okay." She said, No. Let me help you. Anyway, long story short, she ended up helping me carry my bags to Walmart, which was like quite a distance through the mall, so I could get to a buggy and put everything in a buggy, right? They were just, discounted vegetables, so they were kind of heavy. And I was telling her how, I was just thinking about this. And she goes, "Yeah, people are busy. And I'm like, "Yeah, but, it's kind of funny how you just picked up on my thinking, right?" She was Asian of some sort. I'm not sure where she came from, right? But she came from somewhere. Whether she was born here or whether she immigrated here, I don't know. I just know that she was of Asian descent. So, you know, maybe Chinese or maybe Cantonese. Cantonese, I think, is a language. I don't know if it's an ethnic heritage, but something along those lines anyway. And she was quite nice, and she had her daughter with her, and the daughter had a baby. And so there you go. I'm walking through the mall thinking, you know, people need to help out each other more in terms of, you know, out of a whole mall, if 10 or 15 or 20 people in that mall just started offering help to somebody else that needed help in that mall, wouldn't the world just be a better place? That's what I was thinking, even though I was struggling and I needed help for myself. And then all of a sudden, this lady showed up and offered to help me and insisted that she help me. As a matter of fact, she looked like she was quite worried about me in terms of, like, you know, because I'm not feeling well, people, right? So, you know, maybe I have this aura around me that's like kind of like in a bad state, right? Where, you know, I'm just not well. And people are starting to notice it. Right? Versus trying to punch me down, make me sicker, hurt me more, destroy me, destroy my family, destroy my stepdad, you know, just keep punching me down, keep punching me down, keep punching me down, keep punching me down. Actually, somebody tried to help me. So, I found that to be, I just found it interesting that she read my mind. So, in light of that, it kind of restored a little bit of my faith with people in general, right? Because, you know, like I say, nobody wants to help anybody. At least not where I live. Everybody's in their own bubble. Everybody's out to get the next house. You know, people are ruthless out here. You know, people don't care. A lot of people just don't care. So, I don't know what's going to happen with this court stuff. The lawyer is back now from his holiday. Today's the 15th, so he's back from his holiday. So I would suspect that he's signing that piece of paper that goes back to the judge, and once that's signed, I would suspect I'm probably going to get like a $10,000 or $20,000 bill in the mail. There's that hit again, people, right? I get a bill of $10,000 or $20,000 so that Fraser Health Authority, right, corporation can accuse me again of abusing John, right? Just they can cover their asses of what they did to an old blind man that could barely walk, right? That was medically kidnapped by his extended family, who were basically strangers to him because he had left that family a long time ago because he knew what they were like, and Fraser Health Authority didn't care how he felt, right? Where he wanted to be, who loved him, who he loved. They didn't care about any of that, people. All they cared about was giving that corrupt nurse a bone so that after she's done eating her bone, which she's done with now, people, she's got what she's wanted out of John, and she's got him tucked away like a dirty secret, propping up the not-for-profit old folks home, right, because he can afford to pay for that as she spends the rest of his money, and now is walking through those halls, right, dictating to these immigrants that are coming into the country and working within the system that this is how we do it. This is how we take over people's assets to stimulate the economy so that at the end of the day, when I get old, my pension plans are guaranteed, my superannuation life insurance policy is guaranteed, right? My health care and my dental within the government is guaranteed. Because that's the only reason that she's doing it, people, is to guarantee her her benefit packages for when she gets older at the union direction. Okay, so what is it? January 11th, 2018. It's like Christmas all over again.
Yeah.
These
I
are...
already got Christmas toys now, right here.
Yeah, I told you. I have another bin downstairs with actual Lego. This is the Mega Blocks.
The Mega Block jump. Wait,
Well, this is something else. I don't know what this is. But anyway,
it's supposed to come with anything?
just like a block, like a Lego. And then we've got this here, you can see, people. And then you can see this is here.
What's this?
And he doesn't mind looking at directions. So here's all the pieces to make whatever is here.
Oh my
Andre.
god, you can make a Lego truck! Oh my god, and a Lego race car.
These ones are don't mix them up. You can't mix them up, okay?
I'm not going to.
Okay, that one's that bin. You only work with one bin at a time here. So this is Mega Blocks. Back in the day, in my Value Village days, people, I got the whole container for like $5.
Well, that's
Do you see that? $3.99 plus tax. And the same thing with this one. This one was the same thing. I don't know where the tag is, but I've had them for quite a few years.
I think somebody took it. Spaceman.
You got a little spaceman, eh?
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, they were both the same. $4 each.
Okay, this is the window.
Look, you see this? Do you see those are parts for like your you know, for the car or whatever you're making. You can't lose.
Whoa,
look, here's
this?
more.
What's this?
Look, you can't lose these. I don't want you mixing these up.
I'm not going to.
It's going to be hard to sort it out. I don't know how you're going to plan on sorting this out, Andre. Here's a Mari. See, here's the motor parts.
Okay,
you have to pick one thing. I mean, obviously it's all mixed up, and then you got to go by color. I think you're going to have to figure it out by color.
Oh my god.
Be careful with it.
Oh dear.
I don't know what that is. You're going to have some kind of something that takes a battery.
I hope it doesn't have any batteries in it.
I don't know. Maybe the truck moves. Who knows? Maybe the truck moves.
Oh, no wait. This is not for the truck.
So anyway,
This is for the space thing.
this should keep them busy for about 5 hours. Just kidding. And then there's Amari. Here's Amari. Hello, Amari. Hello.
Oh, it comes with a steering wheel.
Hello. Amari.
This in here.
So right now, people, what we're trying to do is sort everything
I don't
out.
see this in here.
Everything has its own parts.
I don't see that in there.
Well,
Not
maybe
in
it's a different, it's something else.
that.
Well, no, because it could be
Circle.
something else.
The circle.
Yeah, but there's another, maybe it's for this, Andre.
I don't know. But whatever's for I think
We have to find all the parts.
one
I don't
thing's
know.
big
We have
and
to
one
sort
thing's
everything
little.
out.
Oh, I get it. One thing's big and one thing's little. It makes the same. It makes together.
Yeah, but I don't see the part there.
It's right there.
Unless it's on the front page. There it
Right
is.
here.
Okay, I told you, put it in the bag. Okay?
Yeah, I'm gonna build, remember?
No. You have to find all the parts first. So put everything that's for this one in a bag. And then as you find the parts for this one, you put everything in the bag. As you find the parts for this one, you put it in the bag. And then I guess there's still the submarine. So we're not even touching this one. Hold on. Okay, people. So today is January 13th, 2018. I think I'm going to try something different here. This is, you know, I don't know what it's called, but this paperboard, right? There's a certain name for it. This is lined paper. Obviously, you can see there's this little tag there. Back in the day with Value Village, $3.99, probably 30% off. I am going to make a chart here in regards to, you know, fighting depression, right? Being able to stay focused. Do you see this weeping willow? It sprouted, and then, I don't know, it doesn't last very long. Yeah. Here's some new ones, but even them, they're dying off at a very early stage. Now, it probably has something to do with the warmth in the house, because the heat is on and the air dries out. That could be it. Here you can see there's new shoots. Right? I'm watching, because what happened was the whole thing was nicely bloomed. For some strange reason, it bloomed. And then I ended up putting water in there that I had boiled a bit, trying to boil off the chlorine, but I don't think I boiled out enough. And you can see this is, look at this. Right, this is about 2 weeks now. It's been here about 2 weeks, so I'm going to have to top off this water. So I'm afraid to use tap water because I don't think these things like chlorine. You can see new shoots. Can you see? They're not brown. But as soon as I put the water in there, new water, it will change. So I'm actually thinking of going out to the pond in the front and grabbing some of that water, which, by the way, the rain has been raining and the pond has been filling up again. And I'm thinking to take pond water and put it in here to top these off as they're dehydrating into the air, right? Because these ones here, you can see they're not browning, but I haven't added any extra water in there. So when you're sprouting these things, they're very fickle. Anyway, this is going to be my workspace. Hold on. So anyway, as I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing here, I kind of want to see if one of my kids, I don't know which one, right, wants to, I wouldn't say play a game with me, but, you know, do what I'm going to do after I've done it. And then maybe it will be productive and I can get some of my other kids to do it and we can kind of get on a, you know, more of an equilibrium in terms of a, you know, a house that runs with different personalities in it, right? So it runs more smoothly. And this is kind of like a self-help well, I'm doing a little seminar, but little kind of self-help seminar that I'm sharing with the public, the viewer, and I'm going to try and see if one or two or all of my kids that are around want to add their 2 cents in, and then we can see what we can get out of it in order to make it so that we all can cope with life better, basically, right? So I'm going to, it's kind of like tackling depression and how you how do you build in coping mechanisms, and you know, how do you push back on depression, and you know, what are the things that you can do in your life that can improve your life, that can, you know, make it better over there, like what are the steps that you need to take in order to get over there, and just, you know, just start with that. I mean, it's been done before. There's probably programs out there that you can look up in the library or online or wherever, right? But I'm just going to kind of fake the funk here and create my own. And as I create my own, I'm going to share it with you because I like to, like, you know, I do work on a nonprofit, right? And, you know, I like helping people. You know, I want to get back to that, to those, you know, Mama Lynn days, right? I really miss those days. Like I mentioned before in a different video, you know, it's hard to be positive when you've got a lot of negative things in your life. Sometimes writing them out and, you know, trying to determine what your priorities are and how you're going to bring that balance into your life helps. So this is what I'm going to do. Hold on. Okay, so as I'm sitting here looking at this and I'm thinking, hold on a minute. Stupid cats. Anyway, okay, as I'm sitting here looking at this and I'm thinking, right, I really should be working on Uncle John's paperwork. I should be working on that appeal, people. It's right here. See, here it is, right there. Anyway, but I'm not. I'm working on this. I'm trying to be in a creative mode here where I can not only help myself, right, in terms of, you know, bringing in that balance, But, to try and get my kids involved as well, because, I'm a mother, I'm a parent, right? I'm the one that runs the house, right? I'm the one that shows the most leadership and takes on the larger burden and just, right? So, and I'm thinking how I can make this interactive with my kids if I was to take it to a broader spectrum in terms of just not, focusing on myself per se as to, what depresses me, what doesn't depress me, how I can fight against the depression without having to, sacrifice or lose on other things. You got to bring in the balance, right? And I'm having a hard time with that, right? So this is maybe one way I'm going to try and do it. And if I'm going to do it for myself, I'm going to try and do it for my kids. And if I'm going to try and do it for my family, this is why I'm talking to you now. I'd like to try and develop something like this for the larger community, for other families or individuals. Because it doesn't have to be done on a family level. I'm just bringing it to a family level because I have a family. Right, and I know my kids are struggling with certain issues just as much as I am, as would be any other household. All right, everybody's got family problems and everybody's got problems. It's all in how we cope with it, right? So I'm trying to bring in a system here where it's kind of going to be family interactive for the ones that want to participate, so that when they walk away with something in themselves to better their own lives, to help motivate them, to keep them focused, and that type of thing, including yourself as the leader or the boss or the parent or the father or the mother, or whatever position you hold in terms of bringing in that equilibrium into the family unit, right? So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, well, you don't want to start writing everything down, because if you write everything down, it becomes too personal. If you're trying to bring in a family thing, right? Everything that I'm doing here, you can take to a piece of paper and do it for yourself. And people have done this. There are methods out there where people, the pros, you have your pros list and you have your cons list, the pros and the cons, right? This is what we're kind of trying to do here, but we're just trying to make it more interactive, more on a family level. So if that's the case, I'm going to have to make charts where certain key words are on a strip of paper, and then you can just Velcro it on, in terms of if you were the individual using the chart within the family, right? You would number your triggers, I guess you could say, right? And for every individual, that number is going to shift. It's going to change, right? So you don't want to start writing down, say, like lonely. Loneliness is a big one for me, people. I'm very lonely. Even though I've got people around me all day long, I love my children, my grandchildren, and just all day long. I'm by myself right now because everybody went to a birthday party, right? But I'm extremely lonely. Obviously, losing Uncle John in the manner that I lost him really put me into perpetual loneliness. So for me, that's at the top of this list. But I don't want to write it down, because if I take this chart and I say to Tisha, okay, here are the cards, you put at the top of the list what's the most thing in your life that depresses you, in terms of influencing you where you're discouraged or sad or solemn, or your outlook in life isn't so bright, right? So, for her, it would be something else. It doesn't have to be loneliness. Caregivers, the major caregivers in households, believe it or not, are the most loneliness people, right? Because they're busy always looking after somebody else or something else. They never really... It's hard to connect with yourself when you're a caregiver to many, right? even now, I'm trying to connect with myself, and I'm still being a caregiver to many because I'm trying to create a program here that not only my family can utilize if they want to, but other families can quite easily incorporate this into their lifestyle to help better, blow off steam. Right? It's like that little relief valve on the pressure canner, right? You're blowing off steam here. This is what's happening. So in that case, I'm looking at making cards with individual keywords that relate to, particular feelings or particular behaviors or whatever it is. And then an individual would come to the chart and they would line them up as to how they feel those situations or moods or whatever influence their life and lifestyle and life outcome. So I don't know why I'm doing this, people, other than I know that I'm struggling with depression and I don't like being depressed. I mean, I've been depressed for a long time, but I don't like it to the point where, it whacks me back. And I mean, there's obviously some things you can't change, right? But there's many things that you can. So here, I think that's how I'm going to start figuring out on this chart. Hold on. Okay, so I don't really know what I'm doing here. I'm kind of beating myself up over this, thinking, well, you've got other things to do. Much more important things to do. But then, what's important, right? Is your family's mental health important? Is your mental health important? Is your future important? Is the future of your children important? Alright. So, I'm like, okay, don't give up. Alright. I had a pair of scissors in here somewhere. Here we go. Alright, I'm like, it's only for a day. Alright, you might actually get somewhere with it, even though it doesn't seem like you're getting anywhere with it right now. So I'm just taking some old paper and I'm going to make, because it already has lines on it, right? And then I'm going to, I don't know, tape it on or glue it on. Glue it on. All these felts that don't work. Alright. I'm actually thinking of trying to laminate the board after the fact. And then I'm going to use Velcro for those little cards. Right? But I'm shaking my head. If my head's down, people, and that camera starts to flicker out, there's nothing I can do about it because I can't see because I'm not looking at the camera. Right? I'm just showing you how foolish I am right now. I'm being foolish. Right? I'm wasting time. That's what I'm doing. I'm wasting time. Right? I should be in front of the computer playing word games instead of with wipeout. I don't know, no, poster boards. These are called poster boards. Instead of playing around with poster boards. Right? And paper. Old paper. Right. But if I don't think about it too much, see, I'm just cutting it in half, trying to make it as symmetric as I can, and then I will show you what I'm going to do with this. Like I said, I'm trying to make it interactive, right, where a family can use it or an individual can use it, right? So, I'll be back. Okay, so this is what I got so far, right? And you can always dress it up a little bit too, right? So, anyway, I'm trying to break, I'm going to have to do more than one. One is not going to be enough. I think one chart should be on how you view yourself in terms of you. Another chart should be how you view others outside of you, whether it's within your circle of friends or your family unit or within just the general population as a whole, in terms of like how we, with the social media and stuff. Oh, hold on. There we go. With the social media, they're saying this is very like sensitive to things moving, right? Social media is affecting the way people interact with each other. So we're learning these basic skills and how to communicate with each other and da-di-di-da, right? So this is, so there should be, a list of how you view society and those around you with, again, that list can interchange. It can, you'll see where I'm going with this. Hold on. See, people, just like sewing. If you're sewing and you're using fabric, you weight down your corners. That's why I have old ancient ashtrays, because they're heavy. So when I'm sewing, that's what you do. You push like that, right? Do you see what I'm doing here? Okay, so this is where I'm at right now. Because of my OCD, I like everything equal. Right? I don't like dust. And anyway, I'm just doing a little rough. This is going to be the rewards part, right? Like I said, I'm trying to build in something here. So I did it on a separate piece of paper just to get a general idea of where I want to start with my letters, right? And then I'm going to use a stencil with a pencil. And then after, I'm going to come in with a pen and I'm going to try and make it as nice as I can. Hold on. Okay, so do you see? So it's pretty much lined up in the center. You just erase out that. Whoops, sorry. You erase out that one. You erase out this one. And then you take a felt pen. And you just go over what you just did. And then it's pretty uniform. Okay. Okay, so do you see how it's going? I really should be copywriting this, people. But it's all under New Nations Unity. I'm going to put under it at the bottom, under the license of New Nations Unity. There's my copyright. Okay, you got that? Just to be sure. How does this work? This thing was making noise. Come on, why are you not making noise? There it is. It's going to be blast off. Okay, people, so this is a little more complicated than I thought, because I'm not really too sure what I'm doing here. All I know is that's not very straight. I'm off like about 1/8 of an inch, or 5/8 of an inch. It's like you can just barely see it. It goes this way. These other ones aren't so bad. They're okay. Can you see what I've done? And then I found these. So I'm not too sure what I'm doing here, people. Okay, so now it's January 14, 2018. I've been sorting this out with Andre here. Right? You can see we've been checking it off. Where's my finger? Oh, what's the matter? Andre's going backwards. Alright, he's got those ones right. So this is what we've been doing. We've been going through this list and trying to find everything. That's what we found so far. That right there. We got a long way to go, people.